Oh, well, she's new. I haven't heard that before.
And we all have to click a button that says we agree and continue. It was
Oh,
weird. It is new.
well, okay, there you go. Well, hello and welcome to TX Gradebook Training. And my name is Krista Hall, and I work at the Service Center in the Texas Student Support area. And Sherry Fitch is on here as well, and she also is one of your Texas student support folks. I don't think Karen or Jackie are probably on here. They're probably taking calls and all. I'm hoping everyone sees the gradebook login page because that's where we're going to be starting. I did send you all the TX gradebook documentation I feel you're going to need, but we're not going to be going over all of it because we would be here all day. I can't imagine that y'all wouldn't want to sit here for 5 hours, which is usually what we did for the workshop. And you got a lunch break in there too. But I'm going to try my very, very best to have us done by noon. Now, I hope not to be going too fast. If I am, please let me know, or if I've skipped over something too fast, hopefully I'm not going too slow, but I'll check in with you from time to time to see how we're doing. For those of you who have worked on TX Gradebook in the past, nothing has changed this year, okay? So everything is the same. So you may just be here for a refresher, which is absolutely fine. For those of you who are new, again, I'm gonna hope that I don't go too fast, but you do have the documentation if needed. And I tell you what, Sherry, if you wouldn't mind in the chat putting maybe our email addresses. Okay. And if you want to put my phone number there as well so that they can have that if need be. Okay, so the first thing that I need to mention is that every single year you come back to school, you have to log in as a new user, be that you are brand new or that you were in it the year before. Because at the end of the year and when they roll over to the new year, that grade book goes away, okay? And they do a process called, the folks in the office or your PEMS coordinator, it's called the move to grade reporting or the rollover for the new year. And so that gives you a brand new, fresh grade book. So that's the first thing. And we are going to go ahead and get started on page 3. As a new user, I'll go ahead and shut my video off so you don't have to look at me with my hands waving in the air. Okay. On the page, you'll come right over here to new user and click here. And the item that you need to make sure that you have before you try to log in is your staff ID number. Where are you going to get that? You'll get that from your gradebook administrator who's in your office. And you'll want to, that's just your employee staff ID number. Okay, and you'll enter it here. And then your last name and your first initial. Click next. And now you'll write your username. And right below it, it'll show you how many characters you can have. So this is between 6 and 8. You'll want to find out also from your gradebook administrator, what is our policy? Is it like our first initial, last name, or is there a specific way we need to have our username set up? Please note, do not enter your staff ID number, because when they have to troubleshoot or if we have to help troubleshoot, it's a lot easier if we can find something tied with the name, okay? And your password right below, it shows it's between 6 and 9 characters, and you have to have 3 of the following: an uppercase, lowercase, numeric, or punctuation. And like everything else that we sign up for, be sure and confirm it. Now, I do want to point out there are 2 areas that are case sensitive. Password is one, and then the answers to your security questions, which we'll come up on in a minute. Our suggestion is write down how you're entering that information and then of course put it in a secure location. The username is not case sensitive. Your PIN number that you'll use, it's a 4-digit number, and you will use it as a security measure in the gradebook when you're posting attendance or when you're entering grades or doing things, setting up different applications that you might be using. It's a way for you, the system to know that it's you, and yes, it's correct as far as saving that information, that somebody else isn't on your gradebook. So it's just a 4-digit number. We recommend that you don't use 1234 or 4321 because those tend to be the easy guessing ones. You'll click next, and now you come to your questions. The questions are determined by your district, so you'll pick a question here and answer it. And once again, these are case sensitive. So jot those down, keep them in a secure location, and then click next. And success, woohoo! And click finish. And it's going to take you straight to your announcements page. Anytime you log into your gradebook each day, it will take you first to your announcements page. In the top part, in the top section, that's going to be a message from at your district level, perhaps from your superintendent's office. Then the message below is from your campus. And this is where they're going to be trying to communicate with you about, a lot of times they use it for when grades are due and when they need to be posted or something special coming up. I think it's going to be very valuable, especially at the beginning of school this year, because y'all have had so many changes even daily. But be sure and check these. We do recommend to the office staff, when they put this information in, when they change the message, change the font, change the color, change the size, something that will then attract your eye that, oh, hey, I must have a new message. So you'll check that out. Okay, and I'm flipping through. We're on the profile setup document, which I don't even think I told you that. I apologize. And I guess I better see. I'm going to go ahead. We're on page 7 and talking about if you forget your password. Okay, so you try to log in, you try it once, and you get a message that says, yeah, that doesn't work. You try it a second time, it doesn't work. Stop after the second time and come over here to forget your password and click here. And the reason I'm telling you this is because if you do it a third time and you don't get in, it's going to automatically lock you out. Then you're going to have to go to the gradebook administrator and ask them to reset your gradebook. So it's just a time saver if you go here, and it will ask for your staff ID, your username. You'll click next, and then it'll go to one of your security questions. Also on page 8, it just talks about an expired password. And I see I have a couple of questions. I'll come back to those in just a second here. On your expired password, TEA does require that throughout the year, you have to change your password. So it is determined at your district level as far as how many days that is. So you may try to log in one day and it says it's time to change your password. So you'll just do that, and it looks like it is above. Actually, it'll put it, and actually it says what your current password is and then what you want to change it to. Okay, let me see. Will this be available for teachers to watch at a later date? Yes, it will, Linda. Actually, out on our website, our Texas Student Support website. I already have last year's recordings. They're still out there. I will have this one out there as well. And then I even have a section under the recorded webinars where these are all broken down in like 5-minute segments, 15-minute segments, and so on. So in the event you wanted to send that link to teachers to remind them how to log in as a new user, it's like 5 minutes long. So yes, they'll be able to see that. Deborah, if teachers do not log in as a new user, what is the error they receive? Well, let's just try that, shall we? Okay, let's try somebody that I haven't logged in yet. Flip back a couple of pages. Okay, because I was here last year, I think that I can go ahead and just come here and enter mine. And it says a user ID or password did not match our records. Please try again. Okay, so, and I've already had a district who I got a call and the teacher said, well, I tried, but it's not letting me in. There, for the office staff who's listening, this is when you go into grade reporting and you'll go over to under teacher profiles, and if that teacher's name is not listed, then that's just the hint that they did not log in as a new user, and that's what they need to do. They just need to be reminded of that. Okay. Any other questions at this point? Okay, I think we're good then. We are on page 9, and all that's telling us is when you do get locked out, it's going, that third time you try it and it locks you out, it's going to say it's that you've been locked out and you need to contact your system administrator. Your system administrator is your gradebook administrator, be that it's your principal at your campus or it's probably your PEIMS person. Let's see here. I'm going to show you. Okay, for those who might be teaching at 2 different campuses, when you log on, you will have up here at the top right, you'll have a little drop down where it says campus, and you can select which school, which grade book you're wanting to look at. Okay, so if I'm currently, it's at the high school, if I need middle school, I just click on that and it'll take me to that grade book. And that's all that's really on page 10. And it talks about the menu items, which are up here. And those are the things that we're going to be going through today. What you do not want to do, you do not want to hit the back arrow. You need to go through the menu items here when you want to move around in the gradebook. A screenshot at the bottom of page 11 shows you, well, if you printed it up in color, it's yellow, but it will say session will time out in 10 minutes. If I haven't been working on the gradebook for, let's say, 30 minutes, and that time frame is determined by the district, if after that 30 minutes there's been no activity on the gradebook, it's a security measure that you'll start getting this pop-up, and it's going to say, hey, in 10 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and close you down here. I'm going to log you out. And then it goes 9 minutes, 8 minutes. So it keeps winding down to logging you out. All you have to do is just click on that little reset timeout button, and it'll go ahead and get you started again. Excuse me. If, however, it logs out, and you didn't save the information, guess what? That's right, you've lost that information. So at the bottom of page 11, it says, warning, any data that has not been saved when the session expires, it's going to be lost. Shay, let's see here. If new teachers only have a temporary staff ID since they are not in HR yet, okay, don't they use the temporary ID that I assigned them in scheduling? Yes, good question, Shay. The folks in HR do need to set up your staff ID number, and Shay's correct that in order for them to be able to go ahead and get you set up for Gradebook, they may give you a number and it'll start with a T. Now, later, Shay will say, oh, okay, hey, I have your number now. Here's your actual number. You don't have to do anything different with it. It's when you get locked out, okay? Or it's asking you for your staff ID. After you've been given your new number, then you'll just enter your new number to get back in instead of the T number. But you can go ahead and use that as your staff ID. It's like T00001. Okay, any questions on that? Did that make sense, Shay? I will tell you the temporary staff ID does not work for the to-campus item because you can't give them the same temporary number. So that's when you contact HR and say, hey, really need this teacher set up because she teaches, or he or she teaches at 2 campuses. All righty. Okay, good. Thanks, Jay. All righty, we are on page 12 and it just talks about user types. Of course, it's going to be teachers. Of course, it's going to be administrators. Teachers, just know that the administrators do have rights to see all of the teachers' grade books, of course. Then we have long-term subs. And I've got one set up, so let me go log in as her. So you can see what happens with that. Okay, when we have a long-term sub set up, that's something that the administrator sets up when they're in the gradebook, and they will select the dates that they will be the long-term sub and for what teacher or teachers. Then when the long-term sub, they will log in as a new user and most likely they, well, not always, but they may have a temporary number, but they'll log in with their staff ID number. And what happens for them is when they get logged in, they have a place right here that they would select the teacher that they're going to sub for. Now, if they are subbing for in the morning for Ms. Caraway and in the afternoon, Mr. Smith, something like that, then both of them would be listed. But the main thing I want to make sure y'all know is they don't have access to everyone's gradebook. The admin person is setting it up just specifically for where they're to be a sub. So they'll pick Ms. Caraway and then they'll click on select teacher, and then Ms. Jones is now in Ms. Caraway's gradebook. So she can go ahead and take attendance and do the grades and all that. Okay, page 13. This is an important page. After you have logged in as a new user, fold this page down or highlight it or put this one somewhere where you'll remember that you want to go right back to your update profile and make sure that's all set up. So after I've logged on and I've been at the announcements page, I'm coming over here to update profile. Now, whenever you work in the update profile area, if maybe you're coming to change the password or your PIN number or make some changes, you always have to put your current password up here. And the reason for that is when you hit save, it's going to look at, did you give me the right password? Yes, you did. Okay, then I'll make those changes. But again, here's where you would make your password change if you want to, or your PIN number, you can change it here. But for the beginning of school, you'll want to come here because these items are going to be seen in the parent portal, and that would be your phone number. Now, I don't think you probably want to put your cell number. I would probably put the school number listed here, and then your email address where the parents know to get a hold of you. And then there's a note section where you can enter information about you or how to get a hold of you. You are going to see through the grade book that there's notes all through it. Notes for the course, notes for a certain assignment, notes for about how the student's doing, and on and on. But this one does show up in Parent Portal. In fact, all of the notes show up in Parent Portal except for one, and I'll be sure and point that one out to you as well. Then where it says combine courses and attendance. This would be if you are teaching two different classes or two sections at the same period. Maybe, I know sometimes at high school they'll have like Art 3 and 4 at the same period. Well, if I have it checked here, it's going to combine just over in my attendance application. It's going to combine all the kids so I can just take attendance one time. Now, if you don't have that situation, then you don't need to check it. It doesn't hurt anything if it is checked. If you are needing to change the answers to any of your questions, your security questions, you would check it here, and then when you hit save, it'll then go to your questions that you can change them. Okay, student order. This is automatically defaulted to an alpha order, meaning on your grade, or when you're working in your grade book, and it'll have the kids listed just in alpha order. But do you prefer that if you get a new student, that new student is at the top of the list? Or do you prefer that that student is at the bottom of the list? Or do you want them just to go ahead and come on in as in alpha order? Independent scroll bars, all I'm going to say is just please make sure that's checked. It's a technology thing and it'll just work for you. Default assignment due date. When you are setting up your assignments, you'll put the date that it was assigned and then the date that it is due. So what this feature helps you with is if you are one who gives almost daily assignments, daily homework, then you may want to select this current date +1, which means when you enter the date that it was assigned, it'll just automatically put the next day in for you. And if you're putting it in as it's assigned on a Friday, it'll put the date for Monday. Or if it's Friday and Monday's a holiday, it'll put it in for Tuesday. I will say, I don't know a lot of people who use this, but it is here if you need it. Okay, and then if I clicked on next, well, I think I have mine in. I went ahead and did finish just because I didn't want to update my hint questions. All righty, so any questions on the profile? And that takes us through page 15. And I'm just going to grab something to drink real quick. Okay, I should have turned that volume off. I'm sorry, I don't mean for you to have to hear me gurgling. So page 16, we're going to go through the items over here in settings, except for categories and assignments. That's going to be down the road. That's in another document. So arrange student order. All this is really doing, well, we can leave it here, is whenever you click throughout the gradebook, it'll automatically default to your semester 1, or if you're in semester 2. And then your courses will be listed here under course section. So you can just select the course that you need and hit retrieve, and the information will pull up. Now, if I want, on page 16 at the top, it shows you where in the grade book and what reports as well, if you change up the order of the students, where you're going to see this. But maybe I'm a teacher who we do projects throughout the cycle and I want those kids to be grouped together. You can just click on their ID number and move them around. Okay, so I want this group all together. I don't want them in alpha order. Once you're done with that list, you put it over here and you hit save arrangement. And honestly, that's all there is to it. If you ever want to come back and rearrange it, you certainly can. Just be sure and put your PIN number in and hit save. Now, you do need to also, though, make sure that you have that student order over on the profile where it was the alpha, a new student at the top or a new student at the bottom. You need to make sure you have that set how you want it. Okay, administer courses. Here's where you go to enter a note about the course. So let's see here. This is where you enter notes about the course, such as reminders, grading, announcements, or anything else that's related to that course. It will show up on the parent portal so the teacher or the parents can see that information. Now, you'll go ahead and you'll write the note for each of your classes or for each of the courses. But I do want to point out, which we're going to look at here in just a minute. I have this course, the Algebra 2, I actually have it set up as a group. Meaning, if I enter this information here for this, any of the other courses that are in my group that I set up for Algebra 2, Group A, it's going to show up for those classes as well. So I only have to enter it once, and it'll automatically go to that group. Which, like I said, we're getting ready to talk about the group. Any questions about administer courses? I still wish they would have changed it to administer notes or course notes. Okay, course grouping. Course grouping is when maybe I teach Algebra 2, a lot of Algebra 2. And when I'm working in the gradebook, I want to be able to have all those Algebra 2 kids together so I can just knock out their grades when I'm putting them in, rather than going to each individual course. Now, I've set up just a very small group on mine, which is Algebra 2 Group A. And when you click on the spyglass, it shows you what courses are in that group. But then it's also showing me that these are ineligible courses that I have because they already have categories. The reason I went ahead and set this up like this was to make sure you understand, if you want to set up a group, which is great, a lot of people use this feature, you have to do it before you set up your categories for semester 1. And while you're here, you might as well go ahead and do semester 2. Okay, so that's what I'm going to show you right now. We're going to go ahead and add that Algebra 2 group. Well, here it is, Group A. I'm going to add the group. And you'll see there's an X. If I was like, oh, I don't need this group for second semester, that's delete. So I just click on that. If the X is gone, and this is throughout the gradebook, if the X is gone, then that's just letting you know it's already being utilized on some class, or it's already been used. And in the gradebook, whenever you see a spyglass, you can click on that and it'll give you more information. Well, right now I want to go ahead and add, and I don't want my pre-AP, I wanted this class, and I wanted this class for that group. Okay. And then I just click save. This is one of the rare times where I don't have to actually put in a PIN number. And I click on it, okay, and they're right there. Now, if I wanted to add the other Algebra 2 classes that I have, I certainly could at this point. Please note on your document there that if this is something you want to do it now before school starts. Set it up and go ahead and set it up for semester 2 so that you don't forget about it, and then you'll be working in semester 2 and then go, wait, where's my group? And you're too late because you've already got categories attached to it. The nice thing for those of you who use groups is that when I go to set up my categories, it'll automatically, I do it for one and it does it for all of them in the group. When I do an assignment, I can pick which assignments I want as well. And it can go to, it'll go ahead actually, and it sets up all the assignments the same. Okay. Any questions about course grouping? Hope that made sense. Like I said, the people I see who utilize that feature are the ones who teach like 4 or 5 of the same thing over and over, and the kids are getting the same assignments and all of that. All righty. Now we're going to skip over rubric, and the only reason I'm doing that is a separate document. In the event, I did send that out with all the other documentation. But if you do use rubrics and you need some assistance with it, please contact me. Send me an email, give me a call, and I'll be happy to walk through it with you. Okay? Or even at the end of this webinar today, if you're still awake, then I'd be happy to go through it with you. We're going to see how the rubric plays out in the gradebook, but I just wasn't going to set it up at this time. Seating chart. Okay, here's where you can come, and we're going to do it for our first period. Here's a little trick that if it's not your first day of school yet, because you won't be able to see your class rosters or who's in your classes in attendance, because they'll have that turned off, and grades, and not until the first day of school. However, if you come here and put in the first day of school, which on our play database here, ours was the 6th, then it's going to go ahead and it'll pull up all the kids for you. So you'll know who's in there. So you at least have a workaround that you can get that list. Okay, and this is for semester 1. Now, the layout options for the seating chart. Do you want them alphabetical by row or by column? Numerical by row and column? That's if you're going to do it by their student ID number, which that to me is pretty random. And speaking of random, you can do it here. It'll just mix it up, or you can have it as blank, and then you'll be able to pull the kids in on the seating chart. I'm going to make it simple. I'm going alphabetical by row. And I'm going to go ahead and put in, I've got 5 rows and 5 columns. See how many kids I've got. Click Preview Layout, and there they are. Now, over here on the left, you can see I've got a full house. But please make sure you look on the right, because I've got some unassigned students as well. So I need at least either a row or a column of 5 more spots. So we'll change that to a 6. And now all my kids have moved over. Yes, it's all true. The blue are boys and the pink are girls. And you can move them around. Like maybe I don't want the girls sitting together. I need to break that up a little bit. If I just click and drag, it'll change with that person. Just swap out with them. Okay, very, very user-friendly, very, very easy. This is showing you the back of the room, the front of the room. If your district uses the students' pictures, then you can check that and they'll be showing there, which that's kind of nice to be able to then up here at the far right, print it up for the sub. You know, that's nice for them to have the seating chart, and you may or may not want to include the pictures. So we'll say you've got it all set up how you want it. Then you'll go over here, enter your PIN, and hit save the seating chart. Okay, let's see here. Deborah, can we set it so teachers can see class rosters before the first day of school? Deborah, it would be just as easy to just print up their class lists and send that to them, give that to them. Versus messing with your calendar. I'd hate for you to be changing that up. So like I said, they can certainly come here to the seating chart, put in the first day of school, and all those kids will show up for them. And then they can have them, they could go ahead and leave them all in alpha order and print it up, and there's their class list right there for them. Are we good, Deborah? Yeah. Okay, good. All righty. Any questions about the seating chart? And there is a report we'll look at some of the reports, but you'll be able to print them up over there. And that took up quite a few pages, and we're up to page 25. And we're going to look at the student group manager. This is definitely an item that I find a lot of teachers use this. Kim Lee is the sponsor of the math club, and he needs to make sure that the attendance, the kids that are in the math club, that their attendance is good and that their grades are good so they can continue to participate in the math club. So he needs this group set up with just those students. Now, a teacher, you have three, well, not options, three possibilities, I guess, and this is at the top of page 25. It talks about what kind of access teacher has to setting up a group. You have no access, that means you wouldn't have access to this area at all, or you have course-wide access, which I would have to say probably 99% of our teachers, you have that. Meaning, when you are setting up a course or a group, it will list all of the students that you have in all your classes. But maybe Kim Lee has a few kids that are in the math club that he doesn't have in class. So that's when he's going to go to the administrator and say, could you please add these students to my math club? And the reason is because the administrator has rights to all of the students campus-wide. It's very rare that teachers are going to have campus-wide access. You're most likely going to have the course-wide access. So I'm going to show you how this is built. And just so I don't want you to feel guilty going to your administrator saying, could you please add these to my group? Because it doesn't take much time at all. Let's see. He does a math club and he does, what else does he do? Debate. How about that? Debate team. Okay, so you just enter the name of the group you want, add the group, click on the spyglass, and now it's going to show me that I have 90 kids in my classes. I can either select all or I can go through and just pick the kids that I need. Click add. They move over to the right, which is my debate team group, and I hit save. That's it. So again, that's all they're going to have to do. When an administrator logs into the gradebook, they would pull your gradebook up. They'll select you. They'll go to the settings, to the group. They'll pick this. And if you've already got it built, like I said, the administrator could go to the math team or math club and go ahead and add any additional students needed. Any questions about the group manager? Then I want to show you what it is that you would see. If you are using this feature, then you would go to Group Admin Student Grades, and I want to look at McKenna's. Okay, and oh, she only has one grade listed right now, and it's an 88. If I click on it, because it's enabled, it's going to show me even the assignments grades, the test grades, the quiz grades, and I can look and see, you know, how they're doing. If they have a low score, then it might also help in, oh gosh, she might need some additional help in this area. Okay, so you can also click on show all details and it'll open them up for everyone, or for those, for McKenna, for all of her classes, or I can click hide. Like I said, she only has the one grade right now. And then you can come here to change student. So what I'm looking for as Kim Lee is, you know, is she still at 70 or above? And then if I went to, let's see here, the attendance summary, and I'm going to do it from our first day of school. Maybe if I can get it to, I got a new mouse. I bought myself a new mouse, and it's so sensitive. I'm getting used to it. And then generate. And it's going to go ahead and here it pulls up the attendance for all the students in that group. You have to do it individually for the grades. And then the legends down here, you know, E is excused, U is unexcused, and T it's tardies. Okay, and then you close the window here. And there's one more item that I'm going to go ahead and mention is if you are the UIL person or one of the UIL folks who need to check all the kids, I'm going to go ahead, and Kim Lee does have that those rights to run a UIL eligibility, and I'm going to say, okay, oh, I need semester 1. And I'm going to do it for my math club. Show anybody who's below a 70. Okay, and I have one student, and it's Cheney, and Cheney has a 0 right now. Well, and being in the math club, and it's the algebra class, might have a few questions about that. Any grade that's below the 70 is going to be highlighted in the pink or the red color. Not all teachers are going to have access to this report. If you are one who needs that, then you need to see your gradebook administrator to get rights to run this one. Okay, let's see here. In the class attendance roster, okay, will it have the new codes for synchronous? Tony, it will, and we'll talk about that when we get to the attendance. Thanks for the lead in. Yes, and I was saying earlier, it took me about 20 minutes to learn how to say synchronous and asynchronous. So, okay, any questions on the group? Then we are done with that one. And what I thought we'd do is we'll go ahead and do attendance next, so you can get that document ready. And after that, then we'll take just a little break, so everybody can kind of wake up, get another cup of coffee. I believe Sherry had breakfast burritos in her kitchen. Okay. Attendance. All righty. So there's not a whole lot that you're going to be doing in attendance. So you come over here to attendance. You do not go over here. And also don't use the X when you log out of the gradebook. Please use the word log out here. It's enabled. Okay, so I'm going to go to attendance post view. Oh, and I just remembered what I was going to tell everybody before I got started. I was going to do the COVID disclaimer. Since I am at home, if the dog starts barking, and the reason I hear that is I hear the dog walking, or the neighbor starts mowing the lawn or whatever, I apologize. Okay, so you come over here, and it's going to automatically default to the current date, current semester, and the first period of the day. Your options are listed right here. All your kids are listed. And it's going to be, they're all automatically set to present. Now, with Tony's lead in, I'm going to try and do a new share and show what that screen's going to look like. Let's see here. Give me just a second. I practiced this right before, but okay, so move that there, and I hit share. Okay, and if one person can even, or Sherry,
Yes,
if you can.
I see it.
Okay, great. Okay.
Krista,
Yeah.
can we start with a disclaimer that the soonest we're expecting this to come out is August 17th?
Oh, okay. Okay. That's
And I'll be
17th.
presenting tomorrow how to temporarily track this. Sorry.
Perfect. No. Any additional information on this is greatly appreciated. Now, with that being said, you aren't going to see this until after the 17th because Sherry just said the software, of course, not just our software, but every software, bless their hearts, they're having to make the changes every time TEA and the state make changes with policies. So this is a screenshot of what yours after the 17th will look like. So on this one, you'll see that you don't have present automatically selected. It's going to make the teacher pick which is correct for each student. Are they absent? Are they present? Are they remote synchronous? Are they remote asynchronous? Please don't ask those questions at this webinar. Like I said, you're going to be getting that information from your administrator through your district level and your campus level when you go back. They will explain to you how you are to actually take the attendance. I, at this point, just want to show you one day you're going to log into attendance and it's going to look like this. Okay. Are there any questions on this right now? And I'm sorry it's blurry. I tried to do the best I could off of a PowerPoint. Tony, are you good at this point? Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and figure y'all are saying you're good. So I'm going to go back and show you what it normally looks like. But I need to go back to my other screen. That here. Okay, and I need to, oh no. Let's see here. Okay, Sherry, are we back?
Yes, but it's the attendance posting. Is that what you intend?
Yeah, the regular one?
Yes.
Yes, yes. Yeah, because I mean, do you feel there's anything else I really need to go over at this point?
On the new stuff?
Uh-huh.
No, I'll cover it tomorrow.
Teachers, yeah. Sherry's going to be doing hers attendance, and that will be with all the administrators and the attendance clerks and all who will be doing a lot of that.
And hopefully you said they'll get guidance on that from their.
Yes,
okay.
yes. That it's going to come from their district level to their campus level. And like I said, it's changing daily. It's, as most of you know, you think you're going to have it in classes, and now you're finding out you're going to be teaching remotely and might be a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So our prayers are with you all. Bless your hearts. Okay. So this is what it normally looks like. But your new one after the 17th will have to mark if they are present or absent, and then also if it's the remote. Okay. This is what it looks like before attendance is taken, meaning you have the little radio dials. Okay. If you start clicking on them, you'll see absent turns red, tardy is yellow. Now, your district and campus policy might not be using tardies. If that's the case, then the system's been set up to where tardy isn't even going to show up on your grade book, okay? But if so, and you'll need to follow your policy, be that it's 10 minutes, you'll need to follow that, and then you just click along, okay? You'll enter your PIN number, You'll click post. Now, how does it look different? The radio dials are gone, and it's saying up here, attendance successfully posted. Now, you might get contacted from the office saying, hey, you haven't taken your attendance yet. Just as a reminder, if you pull it up and it looks like this, let them know, gosh, I did because I can't take it now. Or if it's now looks like, or if it's no attendance to post, okay. Or if you have the radio dials, then maybe you entered your PIN, got distracted, and forgot to hit post. Okay, any questions on that part? Okay, if you come to the next period, also as you take attendance, it will gray out. For instance, if I left and I was working on grades, now my second period class comes in and I click here, it's going to automatically, oh, it's going to take me to my fourth period because I've been messing with that. But it does show grayed out for the ones you've already posted. If you come in here and there's a gray line and it has like a posting type code for attendance and a little note here, click on the note and it's going to tell you that the office has actually already posted attendance for this student. And it's saying McKenna and her parents are visiting University of Texas for a college day and what day that was. And KH entered it yesterday. Okay, so now you know where McKenna is for today. You might get those that it'll say excused and the note might say that the parent called, the student isn't feeling well, that type of thing. Okay, any questions on that? For the first day of school and the first day of the second semester, it's going to have the word new by all the students. Now, when it comes second semester and you go and you click on there and it says new, you're like, no, they've been in my classes. Yes, that's fine. It's just saying they're new for this semester. It's just how it comes across. Okay, up here on the calendar, it does have the legend down below. So if you're wondering what some of the colors mean in here, I'm not picking very good months, am I? Or we need more days off. Oh, where's my July? Okay, here's the 6th, and it's showing that that was, oh, I just picked that day. Well, I don't know what's wrong with me. It was there yesterday. Well, it will show you like your holidays and all as well. So here's your legend below. Okay, we talked about that and that and that. Okay. I do want to point out, let me go back over here to, I think she's over here. If you see this icon, it's the Star of Life icon. And that means there's some type of medical alert. Now I'm going to go through the student profile in just a little bit, but right now I do want to show you that if you click on that and where it's red, it's going to give you what that medical alert is. So she happens to be allergic to peanuts, and here's where the EpiPen is and the phone number, so you can quickly dial and get assistance with that. And like I said, we're going to come back to the student profile in just a little bit. This medical alert will show up if your nurse has entered the information in Texas and feels it's some medical alert that you need to know about, that they'll select it to be able to be shown in the grade book. Okay. And we are on page 7. Also, during, let's see, let's come back to today's date. August 4th. And I'm just going to pick another class here. Pick this one. Okay. All the kids are present. It already marked, says present here. Do I need to go ahead and post it? Yes, you do. because TEA says we need to make sure that that's what you intended it to be. So you'll enter your PIN number, click post, and you'll get a little pop-up that says all students are marked present. Please confirm. So you'll just hit continue, and then there they are. They're all present. Okay, the other item that you have are your rosters. Oh, before I go there, let's say that you accidentally marked someone absent and it should have been another student. Follow what your policy is at your campus, but it might be that you need to print this and then write on it what needs to be corrected, and be sure and date and initial it or sign it and give it to your attendance clerk in the office. They have to have a paper trail. Now, it might be that you can just email them and they keep that, but just find out what your policy is on that area. Okay, so we'll go to attendance rosters. Now, you can select all classes, or you can select just specific classes. All, of course, would be nice for your substitute. If it's like this, where I'm going to leave this for a substitute, then they will have to go ahead and select, are they present, tardy, or absent for each one of them. And you just saw a minute ago what it looks like if you're running it and attendance was already taken. This is what it looks like. That's all on that area. Any questions on that? Then on page 9, there is a possibility that your attendance clerk in the office may ask you to run the attendance verification report, verify it, sign and date it, and give it to them in the office. Or you may never see this. This might not be a report that they use, but I did just want to point it out. It's under reports, attendance verification, and gosh, go ahead and pick 6 through August 4th. If I want the withdrawn students, or if I just want a summary, you generate it, and this is what it looks like. And here's the students, and they were doing so well, and then all of a sudden, 5th week, they aren't there. And then when you print it up, of course, it has a place for your signature, but if you would also just date that. Again, you may never be asked to run this report. Or it might be one that you like to have. Okay, any questions on attendance? Now, you will be told at one of your earlier meetings before school starts what the first day of school procedures are going to look like this year, and how you will take attendance, and how they'll determine who the no-shows are and all that type of thing. But you will follow what your district and policy and campus, what those policies will be. Okay, it is 10:05. Am I pacing it okay? I guess I'm concerned, am I going too fast? Okay, Caitlin said it's okay.
Hey, Krista, I already had a question about this, so I thought I would tell everybody at the same time.
Yeah.
The attendance webinar, that's 2 parts, tomorrow and Friday, is now open for registration. I know we sent something out a long time ago that said upcoming trainings and webinars, but the link wasn't live to register. So if you
good.
didn't know about it or tried to register previously and couldn't, that link is now available, or the registration is now open, so you can go. And again, this is just for attendance clerks, PEMS coordinators, admins, people like that. It's the attendance application inside Texas. So
did you just hear that?
no,
All those teachers going, woo, that's not us.
that was another one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you didn't know about it or you're not registered, go register. And I'll be honest, I'm probably not going to send the links until later this evening. So don't panic
Oh,
if you
right.
register and you don't get anything during the day. So it'll be there by morning.
Okay, perfect. Okay, well, I would like us just to take just a short little break. It's 10:07 and I'm gonna hit, this will work, right, Sherry, if I hit record,
Just hit
pause?
Yeah.
Okay, and she's a little scary, isn't she? All righty, I heard that, Sherry, or it sounded like you anyway.
Yeah, it was. I giggled. I was just letting you know I'm back.
Okay, very good, my Vanna White. Okay, we are ready to start the big document, which is gradebook. And if everybody's good with my pace, we'll keep on going. So after you've updated your profile, you're then going to head over to settings and administer categories. And I will now shut that video off so you don't have to see me. There we go. Okay, and we are on page 3. Now, the first thing that teachers need to do is to set up their gradebook then after the profile is set up their categories. Then once you have your categories set, you'll set up the assignments. Then the assignments are set up, then you're ready to start entering grades. If you find down the road that maybe you had the wrong category, then that means you get rid of the grades, you get rid of the assignments, you get back to the categories, make the changes, add back in the assignments, on and on. So take the time to find out before you set up your categories, is there, especially for the new teachers, is there a specific way you are to have your categories set up and the weights for your classes? What is your district campus policy? So you want that in the beginning. A lot of schools will go ahead and say, we've already set up for you what those categories are, and we've locked in the weight. So you'll just pull it in and it's pretty much set for you. So when you come here, now I will tell you on our play database, I am only going to be using percentage. If we also used the point system or a multiplier, it would be listed here and you'd be able to select. If you come on and it's just percentage, then you know that your campus is strictly a percentage campus. And the categories listed on the left, again, they may tell you which ones that you're to have. It may be set up to where you can add a new category type that you would like to have if you have, that kind of freedom to do it. Now, mine is not set up to add a new category, but a couple of things I wanted to point out there is if you do add a new category, please just make sure it's not listed already. Like if you wanted projects, but you skipped over this one or something, and then you wrote it all in lowercase, then now you've got 2 of the same thing listed. It's just going to be a lot cleaner if the campus, if they set them up, and if they do, then they're going to lock it to where you won't be adding new categories. Now, you may say, hey, I'd really like one that says, what's in it? Homework. Then just visit with your administrator. If they say, oh yeah, we can add that for you, then they'll add it and it'll show up here for you. Okay. And for ours, you can either click and drag it over. Sure you can. There we go. Drag it over, or you can just click on it and it'll show up over there. Now, what I want to point out about tests, you'll see to the right of the word test, it has a lock. That means your campus has said, yes, you can use tests, and here's the weight. It has to be 50% of their grade. And they've locked it, so you cannot change that. But you can see that you can change your other items here. Okay, we'll change this one to oh, we'll have it as a 20, and we'll change this one to a 30. And now I'm just going to click on these little arrows, and it's going to fix cycle 2 and 3 to look just like cycle 1. There it is. Now, the drop item right here, that's if I am going to allow the students to be able to drop their lowest grade in this category. Well, I don't want to in tests or quizzes, but I'm going to go ahead and let them drop the lowest grade. And I'm going to let that happen in each of the cycles. So I click on the arrows and it just fills it in for me. When we do percentages, of course, it has to equal 100. You'll get a little pop-up that'll say, you know, if you've got it at 90 or you've got it at 110, something like that. It'll let you know it has to be at 100. On the far left, you'll see the X's, the delete. You will have those available to you until you set up an assignment and attach that assignment to a category. Then once that assignment is attached to that category, the X goes away and you can't change it without getting rid of that assignment off of that category. Does that make sense? Hope. All righty. Then of course your category name here. And then the color. You can even select what color you want your daily assignments to be. Maybe I want them this pretty green. And I want quizzes in a, I don't know, a pretty kind of pink color. And it's kind of purple, isn't it? And then red for my, we'll do tomato for my tests. Okay, and it will show up here in just a little bit when we're on the assignment grades. You'll see where that comes into play. Okay, so I have my cycle 1, 2, 3, 4, semester 1 all set up for my personal finance class. Okay, I went ahead and I just started with that one. Now I'm going to enter my PIN because that's just how I want it and hit save. Now, if you'll see below here, it says copy these categories to other course sections. If I'm going to use these categories with these weights for all of my classes, then I can, or even just some of them, I can click here and then I can, and I've used this already on some of mine, but I can go ahead and I can say, okay, this is definitely what I want for my geometry. And I'm also using it for, well, I'm going to be using some of these later. The pre-AP, we'll do them for that. Okay, now this is semester 1, but if I'm going to use this for all year, then I'm going to come over here too. And when I click there, I want it definitely for personal finance. Now, if you'll notice, when I clicked on this one, it automatically did this one too. And that's because, remember, I had it set up as a group. A course group. And then I want this one and this one. Okay. I'm going to enter my PIN and copy. And it's going to show me up here that I have attached all those same categories to those classes for semester 1. Here's the semester 1s and here's the semester 2. Makes it real fast that way. Okay, looking over my little notes here. Are there any questions about that? Because like I said, it makes it a nice fast way for you to get that done. Can't stress enough, get semester 2 done as well, because when you come back from the Christmas break, I'm so sorry, you're not going to be thinking about that you don't have your categories set up. And then you're going to try to put in assignments, but you're going to get the notice that you don't have the categories set up. So do those now. Save time for the future. Okay. I'm whipping through these pages. And that is it for categories. So any questions on categories? If so, please feel free to write in the chat. Otherwise, we're going to head over to assignments.
settings, administer assignments. And I'm going to go to my Algebra 2 class here. I thought I'd save us some time, and I went ahead and did a bunch of assignments. You'll also notice there's a message here. This course is part of the group Algebra 2 Group A. All maintenance to it will be done to the other courses within its group. So that group that I made, whatever changes I change here, it's going to do it for the others as well. Again, another nice time saver. Now, these that have the X's mean I just haven't attached a grade to those assignments yet. So if I need to get rid of them, I still could. However, any of them that don't have the X just means I now have a grade that is attached to that assignment as well as the appropriate category. So you've got, when you add a new assignment, you'll just click down here, and we'll go through all these columns in just a minute. And I'm going to add, let's see here, daily. Well, that was just so that I'd remember to tell y'all the delete X still available, and it has no grades. Okay, so you'll put the assignment name in here, and then you'll pick which category it should be attached to. Now, here's that date that it was assigned. I assigned this to the kids on, I'm going to say, today. And this assignment is going to be due on Thursday. Okay. Now, if I would have selected, when I did the profile earlier, if I would have selected current +1, when I put the 4 in, it would have automatically put the 5th. Or if I had current +2, it would have put the 4th, then it would have put the 6th. Okay, that's where this shows up. Under total points, it's going to go ahead and automatically go to our percentage of 100, and I'll come back to these that are grayed out. We have an extra credit, rubric, do not drop, and notes. But you'll just enter your PIN number and hit save. And you get assignments saved successfully to all courses in the group. So if I went to the other Algebra 2 class, there it's going to be there, this new one that I wrote here. Okay, so we talked about the categories and the date and due date assigned. These that are grayed out, one is going to be an extra credit example. So when I check that, if I uncheck it, the 100 points would come back. If I check it, then it's going to go to 0, because when I enter the extra credit points over on the assignment grades area, those points, let's say I do it in a daily category of maybe 5, they got 5 extra points. That's going to add 5 points to the daily category average. And then of course it continues to be averaged in with the other 2 categories. With the calculating grades document that you have, that is all listed in there. If you ever question, I don't know if TxEIS, if the gradebook actually calculated it the way I thought it was going to, please refer to that document or give me a call and I'll be happy to go through it with you. Okay, so that's why it's going to gray that out. Then you have, we're going to come back to rubric. Then you have the do not drop. If you remember on the categories, when you were setting those up, you had an option to drop the lowest grade. It could be the 1, 2, 3, however many of the lowest grades you want to be the kids to be able to drop, you would have that there. However, you may have an assignment every once in a while, you're like, no, they've got to get this. So that cannot be one that's dropped. So you just check that and it'll pass over. Meaning even if it's the lowest grade of the grades in that category, it's going to go ahead and pass over it so that it's not discounted. Then you have an option for a note. You click on that. And this just is a note about the specific assignment. So if you want the parents, because it's in Parent Portal, if you want them to know something specific about this assignment, then you would write that here. Now, on the rubric, for those who do use the rubrics, again, at the end of this webinar, if anybody wants to stay behind, I'll be more than happy to go through that document too. But you'll see they're already set with the just the little black squares here. But I wanted a rubric selected, so I selected the Algebra 2 project and selected it, assigned it. I assigned it. Why is it not going away? Maybe it's making me do it again. Okay. And then you'll put in your PIN number and hit save. And when that happens, it turns into the little colorful rubric cube. And that's all there is really to assignments, other than we have that fun feature, which is copy assignments to another course. I don't have to copy them to the courses that are attached in this group, but if I click on this, yeah, I'm okay. I can go ahead and I can check all assignments. I want all of those to move over to classes, or maybe maybe I just want the worksheets to go to certain classes. Then I can pick that for the appropriate class or classes and for which cycles. Maybe some of these worksheets I do over and over again each cycle. Then you can go ahead and select semester 2 as well. And then you'd put in your PIN, hit copy, and it's just like in copying over for the categories. So any questions about assignments as far as setting up the assignments? Okay. Nope. All righty. Well, then we're going to go ahead and move on over to, you've got the categories in, you got the assignments in. Now it's time to give those little darlings some grades. So we are going to work on our Algebra 2 group. Again, you can pick which class. Now here you're going to see if I pick group and hit retrieve, and I don't know if I have that many kids, but you can see here under course section, if I check that, oh, it gives me an error. Let me try this again. And you know what? It did have an issue the other day. But you can see where it has the course number and then it has section 040406. So it shows you, yes, I do have those two classes combined. This is where you're going to be working the majority of the time. So let me just kind of go over the headlines. Here's where you would be able to select your semester 1 or 2 and the appropriate cycle, your courses, and then of course retrieve, and it'll pull up that information for you. If you want all your categories to show, that's fine. If I want to look just at my daily categories, that's fine. It'll move them to there. If maybe I'm just wanting to enter a test grade and I don't want to get it all mixed up with the other columns, I can certainly do that. The same thing holds true for assignments. If maybe I'm ready to work on daily worksheet 4 and put those numbers in, then I can just have the one assignment. If you select a due date, it will pull up any of the assignments from that day and future. For instance, if I was to put July 24th, because I think I've got one there. It's going to narrow it down and it shows, here's the due date, the 24th and the 28th, and then any in the future. It's not going to pull just that day. That was error, user error. I hit the wrong button, darn it. Now, so you can work in the group, or you can also just work on in that one class. And that's what we're going to do right now. So let's go through all of this. On page 14, we're now going to talk about that student profile I talked to you about earlier, where you have the the medical alert right here, the Star of Life. But if you, throughout anywhere in the gradebook, if you see the student's ID, you can click on it and it will automatically take you to additional information about that student. Meaning it comes here and it has just some basic demographic information, addresses, special programs. Yes, the student's in a lot of special programs. Any of the generic programs, 504, dyslexia, things like that. You've got your medical alert. You have your contact information. And you can see that any of these that are enabled, that means if I was to click on that, then it's going to take me straight to their email address. Now, keep in mind, the email address is as good as what the parent has given the office, and the office has had time to update that email address. But since most of them, well, not most of them, all of them using parent portal, it has to match. The parent portal email address has to match what we have in the office. So those have definitely been all cleaned up in a year. It will tell you their relationship, and again, just some basic information. If you see the phone number in bold, that means that's the number that they prefer you call first if you're trying to contact them. And it'll have their address. And then the little, I always think of as a little beetle bug over here, is the right to transport. Now, at high school, you're probably not going to have it so much. There's a couple of times where you're going to see it. Elementary may utilize this feature, but as people change vehicles and license plates and all of that, you aren't going to see it probably as much. However, in custody issues, that's where I have seen that people really utilize it. So then we know, okay, this is what grandma is driving, and yes, she's allowed to pick McKenna up, type of thing. So this information may be there, it may not. But if the little car's there, it's just saying that that person does have the right to pick that student up. Then on the left, you'll also see attendance. So if you click on that, it'll show the student's attendance. And you can change the dates if you're needing that. Here's the legend. The legend is just going to show you what those items that the student has listed over here. If they're in the gray, that means what? That's right. That means that was done in the office. If it's the red, teacher had marked that student absent, and the yellow, of course, is tardy. You can see their schedule. First semester, second semester. If your district utilizes the photo feature where they have added those to TxEIS and the gradebook, then you would be able to see their picture here. Then you've got, my student doesn't have all the test grades or anything, but there are test scores here listed as well, if they're entered into the system, into TxEIS. And you can also print the information if you need it. So any questions about the profile? Because I always find that some teachers are like, well, I didn't know that was over there. Then we'll go back, we'll close this and be sure and use that close window feature. You know what I don't think I mentioned a long time ago is the question mark. That's help. So you can certainly go to that and it will talk about whatever screen you have open and help answer maybe a question that you have, or give us a call, or of course always check with your gradebook administrator. So that takes care of the student ID and the student profile. Then you have a T listed here, and that means that's the transfer indicator. When you see the T in a red circle, that means that's a new student that's come into your class and they're coming with a grade. And you, as the teacher, following whatever your policy is, determines, okay, you click on the little red circle and it says, on this date, this student, Brendan Bray, is coming with an average of 92 from this class. Now, how much does that weigh into the rest of their grade? So let's say, and this has been, what, 4 or 5 weeks. So we're going to say it's going to count 65% of the student's grade. So I'm going to put the percentage in, click OK. You'll see it now changes to a blue T. And because today is the 4th, you're going to notice, look how many of the assignment grades have all been excluded. That's because the student wasn't in the class during those assignments. So you really aren't going to hold them accountable when he wasn't here. That is why, one of the 2 big reasons why it's important to put that assignment date and the due date when you're building assignments. This is one of them. The other one is it shows up in Parent Portal. Those dates do. And it's nice because they'll know when certain projects or a test is coming up or things like that. Okay. Actually, I'm going to see if I can put them back, because I'm going to be doing this again. I feel. Yeah, I'll deal with that later. Okay. Which I think that's nice, that especially if you're well into the cycle, that it'll go ahead and exclude it for you. On page 17, there's a lot of different bullet items for you. So as you're working in it, you can always refer back to this. But I do want to point out, it's about 2/3 the way down. It talks about letters and what they mean in the grade book, meaning like the M. I have an M here. It's a missing grade, but it counts as 0. So we've had every once in a while when a teacher's like, oh, well, they're just missing it, but I didn't want them to have a 0 on it. Then just leave it blank. You know, put something else. Put an I if you want for incomplete. But that M is going to average in as a 0. The I have it up here. Once you enter an I for incomplete in an assignment, it's going to filter through and show in the cycle grade, a semester grade, and a final grade. It's really trying to tell you many times, hey, what do you want to do with this? You've got it as incomplete. Do you need to change it to a grade, or do you need to exclude it? What do you need to do with that? Then, of course, the X that I was mentioning means exclude. Now, you'll see a little note next to the scores as well. So let's click on this one, the exclude. I've got it checked. And this is where you would enter a note to show on the parent portal. But if you want it to show on the IPR as well, the progress report, be sure you check it here and then hit OK. You've got redo. And again, I didn't write notes in all of these, but you can, whatever you put in here is going to show in that parent portal. You have accommodated right here. And you have late. So again, maybe they got deducted some points that you need to note that. But the key thing here is to remember, select this if you want it to show over on the progress report. All righty. Over by the student's name, you'll see there's another note. This is the only note that does not show up in the parent portal, okay? So you might want to make a note. The only note doesn't mean you should write, Keegan is driving me nuts. you know, but you click on that, and here's just some different note items you have: attendance, discipline, general, health, and supplies. And it's strictly for your convenience. I wrote on here just a few things like they're arriving 15 minutes late to class. Now they want to go see the nurse all the time. You'll be able to print this up in a report, and you'd have it for like a parent-teacher conference or a student-teacher conference. But this is really just a nice feature for you to keep track of some things. Okay, your cycle average, whatever's happening over here, whatever grades, letters, whatever you're doing over here, the average of them comes up over on the far left. Checking my pages here. All righty. On page 20. Oops, I think we have a question. Amy, when we train teachers on Gradebook, is there a sandbox type site we have access to in order to show them how these functions work, since our Gradebook is currently closed? No. Our district is wanting to really encourage teachers to use these note functions. Okay, and I would like to be able to show these areas. Amy, gosh, I would need to check with Stephanie Smelly, my boss, and see if there's access to that. So if you could send me an email and just kind of writing what you're looking for, and let me see if there's anything that we could do about that. And Sherry, if you're on there, can you just write in my email address again into the chat real quick? Okay, great. Okay, good. Thanks, Tammy. Tammy. I looked at the Tong and the Amy, and now she's Tammy. Sorry, Amy. Okay, if you wanted to, everybody got 100 on something, and you just want to fill it in real quick, you can always come to the bottom and add the grade in and hit fill, and it'll automatically put them in. If there were grades there already, it skips over those and it only fills in what's blank. Oh, I just realized it's the wrong assignment, so I'm going to delete it, hit fill, it changes them back to blank. If I needed to exclude all these because we weren't going to do this worksheet, I can click that, and then it'll go ahead and put everybody as exclude. If I click it a second time, they'll go away. Did we have to check in after break? I have been here. Oh, nope, you're good. We're on the honest, or we believe you. You're good. Tracy had just asked if she needed to check in after break. Well, did she bring us those breakfast burritos, or who? Somebody was still looking for the tacos, I think. Okay, so that's how you can mass enter grades or exclude the grades or delete, that type of thing. Also at the bottom down here where it's assignments per page, I think it tends to default to 5 and then until you're really working in it. And then you can make it to 10, you know, or you can make it to all. And again, if you have them all opened, you want to make sure you're putting the grades in for the right column, then that's when you can, this feature comes in handy. Okay, we've excluded, we've done that. We've even talked about the transfer student. Look at us, look at us. Okay. All righty, I'm on page 23. But before we do that, I do want to point out for Keegan, or no, I went to McKenna. For McKenna Allen, has a cycle average of 88. But you'll notice she's got a grade of 40 here, but yet this grade, the 85, is italicized and grayed out. What does that mean? That means that's the lowest daily grade, so she gets to drop that one. But we have a daily grade over here of 40. But if you look up here, that's the one I set up as do not drop. So that one definitely passed over it because I really wanted them to get this assignment. So they didn't get to have that one as a dropped assignment. Of course, you saw my colors. The dailies are all green, quizzes blue, tests are red. Now, if the teacher needs to import assignment grades, they can, and it's like in either text or I always have to think it's CSV, the Excel sheet. I always mess it up with the drugstore, CVS, yeah, CSV. You'll click here, import grades. It's a very simple process. You'll browse, and let me see if I can find, this is my little example. And I'm going to upload, and it's just looking for the student ID, the assigned grade, their first name, and their last name. And it shows you what columns it's in. So if I needed to switch it around or anything like that, I could. So you're going to see that the scores are down here, but you're also going to see that this student is in red and marked out. And that's just because I happen to know that student has now withdrawn. Since that student got that grade, that student's withdrawn, and it doesn't pull in to the withdrawn student because I don't have that student up there either. And you'll see there's a missing grade here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit import now. And I get a little pop-up. It says your assignment grades have been imported. Please double check your data and don't forget to save. Click OK and allow the page to refresh itself. Okay, and here we are. Here are all my grades. And sure enough, if I would have left those excludes up there for that transfer student, it would have been excluded, so it would have passed right over them. Okay, so again, it's a very for them to bring those grades in. And that was on page 23. If you would like to print up certain assignments, let me just pick one that's got some grades. Oh, here, let me go ahead and save this, and then that one's got a lot of grades. Okay, so I want to print up the daily 4 worksheet. Got that, yep, that's it. Now I get a print button. When all of the assignments are listed, it's not going to show. But when I have just this, then it will allow me to print it and save it, or just print that up. And it is just a little sheet that shows all their grades. Okay, and here's another one. They got a 90, but it's their lowest daily grade. So it's italicized, and here's a 50. Okay, let's go back to all of them. That, and that. Okay. Any questions about assignment grades? Here's a little hide menu box. If you click that, it just gets rid of the headings up above. So if you had more students, and it just gives you some more room. And you can click show, and then it'll bring that information back. Oh, another item. Sorry, I skipped over it, didn't I? After I got to due date, I got sidetracked. The squirrel probably ran by my window. Okay, you can do the same thing as you do for categories assignments. You know, if you have the kids come up that you want to talk to them about maybe a grade or you know, how they're doing, you can select just the one student. Then you don't have to worry about them seeing anybody else's grades as well. And also, you always need to come here if you need to see your withdrawn students' information. And they'll show up in the blue. And remember that Sean Martin that I said he was in red, and his a line marked through his name and grade because he withdrew on the 13th. Okay, well, it doesn't look like there's any questions on that. So we're headed over to cycle grades. So we've done the assignment grades. Now we're going to go to cycle. And we're in semester 1. I'm going to stay with that Algebra 2 class. And I have got to grab something to drink real quick. I'll be right back. Okay. So it's the end of the 6 weeks, or the end of the cycle, and you've received that announcement note that says, okay, we need for you to submit your grades, mark them as ready to post by this date. And so now you're ready to come over here and take a look at it. It's going to have the student ID, the student's name, and the average. This average pulls straight over from this class. There's all your classes, but from this class, what we were just working in on the assignment grades. If, like McKenna, she's really been trying hard, if at the end of the cycle I want to bump that up, and if it's your policy, to a 90, then you can put your override grade in here. Citizenship, you may or may not use this at your campus, but if so, you may also have it, they may have it set because of your policy as maybe an S, because this is a ESNU item. And if that is the case, then all your students would automatically be set to an S, and you just have to go in and change those that needed an N or an E or U. Your report card comments. Here's your legend right here. You're going to click this, and these are going to pop up. And you don't, I'm sorry, it would be nice if you could just click on them and they would pop up over there. But what you need to do is just enter the code. So this student, McKenna, has a D and a C. So much improvement and prepared for class. And then we have an L called teacher for teacher conference. And then a K, missing work. Okay. Oh, but yet he has 100. I probably picked the wrong item there. So anyway, you may have comments that you want on the report card, you may not, but this is where that information comes from. When you're done with it, just click on it, it goes away. You may or may not have this item. It's called report card narrative. We aren't real sure why, but you can type up to 5,000 characters. Now, to me, if you're going to type up 5,000 characters, you might as well just pick up the phone and have a conversation with the parent. But some campuses do not use this feature, and I'm going to tell you why, is because it's going to take up additional paper. If a teacher uses this, it will print up a second page that will go with the report card. And so that may be one of those things that they don't want the information listed there, which you'll see there's other ways that you can leave notes for the student as well. But this would just show up on the second page of the report card. So you may or may not have it. This, of course, this is the first cycle for our play grade book. So here's my semester average right now and the working final average. These are strictly working. If I went over and changed McKenna's grades right now, this is going to change, and so are these. Now, I've gone through all my classes and I'm ready to post them, and I'm going to click on, I'm just trying to see. Okay. You're going to click on, I was trying to find the page number where I am. I'm on page 29. You would click here and it'll show all of your classes. So you're going to go through and you're going to start checking all of your classes that you want to submit. And I'm going to pick geometry, okay? And I select that, and then I get this information here, my PIN number. Don't worry about it over there. This is the area you need to address. And I'm going to put in my PIN number and hit continue. And so it was successfully posted. Now, if I come over here and the word ready is next to all of my classes, then it's ready for the office to pull those grades in. But if you're missing one, then be sure and come back over here and take a look, because maybe you just accidentally, or when you clicked on it, the check didn't stay. All right. And then what happens is the office, they'll say, okay, we're going to pull those grades in. And once those are pulled in, then you can't be coming back and making changes. You'll need to contact your gradebook administrator in the office and work out changes there. Okay, any questions on that part? I would like to take just a second here and change this to cycle 3, just because I want to show you exams, even though you might want a little refresher closer to the end of the semester. But yep. And I think I'm gonna have to log out here. It's on a timer for teachers as far as when it's changed in TxEIS to when it shows in the gradebook, but this way I could just do it quickly so we can keep going. So when you go to your cycle grades at the end of the semester, then you're also going to see this information, which is the exam. Okay. Now, if you've got some grades in here, 80, 70, 100, okay. And then the others I'm going to put as they're exempt from those exams. Then you can click that and it'll just fill them in for you. Okay. This isn't one where you can click it a second time and they go away. You would have to actually go in and, you know, just click and hit delete. Of course, that doesn't take long to do that. Also, if it's set up and it's your policy where teachers can also override a semester grade, I don't know, administrators tend to want it done at the cycle level, but if you can, this would be the column that you would do that. Okay. It would also, by cycle 3, it's going to show you what the student's grade was in cycle 1 and cycle 2. If I was working in semester 2, there would also be information here that I could click on and it would show me what they made in semester 1, what the grades were. Okay, there's one other item I wanted to show you. Okay. Now I only have one student here, but if you happen to teach a class that it is already set up to have an auto grade, this class, for instance, this is athletics and the students all get 100 automatically. But if that student really should have a 70, 80, 90, whatever, I'm just going to put it in the override. So a lot of times this will happen also in elementary, like with your music classes or PE classes. Again, if you want that auto grade set up, visit with the administrator and they can get that set up for you. And all you'd have to change is the override. Understand, you don't have to put 100 over here. I've seen that before where the teacher thought that they had to go ahead and put the grade, the auto grade over here as well. You do not. You only put if it's different than what's in their auto grade. Okay, let me look at my little notes here. Like I said, I don't want to go too fast, but I know a lot of these things, once you're in it and you start working with it, you'll refer back to these items. At the end of the cycle, on page 31, in bold, it is recommended, and we really do recommend this, that it, like right now, not this second, but before school starts, set up a folder on your computer and have it as cycle assignment grades. And at the end of each cycle, when you've submitted your grades, everything's good and done, then you can go ahead and you can go into reports, assignment grades, and I'm going to go ahead and hit all. And I'm going to say, and this is for like, well, let's go back to cycle 1 because I think I actually have grades there. And it's thinking, and it's going to print up. I mean, I'm not a teacher, but I think I would really like this report that I could always refer back to as well. It shows my categories for this cycle. It shows the assignments that I built. And the little ID number here is listed right up here. So then it shows me what the kids got for, like, she got a 95 for 2. Well, 2 was the daily 3 worksheet. Okay. It'll show if it's excluded, if it's dropped, if incomplete, missing. So anyway, we really recommend, because all you'd have to do then is, you know, you'd hit the print but save as PDF and throw it in that folder. That you can use that as more of your hard grade book then as well. So any questions? Oh, we do have a question. Will it be an issue if we don't do a citizenship grade? No, that's up to y'all. No. How can you really do that if the students are remote? Yeah, like I said, if it's the citizenships there, we have ours on the Play database. I think that was Shay, wasn't it? Mike just went away. There it is. Shay, ours is set up to where we have an auto, the S showing. So you just don't want to set that up, and you just leave it alone. Sure. Sherry. Oh, okay. Sherry had to leave us for a minute. If admin wants to pull the assignment grades for each teacher, do we pull each instructor, or is there a way to pull everyone at once? Okay, if the admin wants to pull the assignment grades for each teacher, you know what, Deborah, there's a couple of, in fact, let me look here real quick. There's a couple of reports, but I don't know if I had that one in here. In order to have them like this, you'd need to go to each instructor, you know, when you log in as an administrator, and just do the all, and then you could, again, you can print them up and you can save them. They had added a report over in grade reporting, but I'm not sure it's going to show all the grades. I'm jotting that one down. So let me see. It's Deborah. We're going to look at a couple of them over in grade reporting too. So we'll check that out when we go over there. If not, then it would be this, or have the teachers print them up and drop them off. You know, I know the teacher's going, no. Okay. All righty. Any other questions on that portion? Then we'll go take a look at, I'm going to close that window. Under grades, we have the IPRs, the progress reports. You may or may not print them for the students, because they can also be printed in the office. And the difference is, if you print them out, it will just print out for your class only. And so the student would be getting a copy for first period, second period, third period, fourth, and on and on and on. If it's done out of the office, it looks more like a report card where it's going to have the student information, all the classes, and the current grade. Current grade meaning when the person in the office, when they hit, print on that, it gives the date and a timestamp. So if you're changing grades after that, then it might be different. But they save them also so that they can refer back to, okay, well, when we printed up those progress reports, this is what the grade was at that moment. Okay. But there may be a time where you have an agreement with the parents. Maybe the parents would like information about the grades. Of course, they can go on Parent Portal now, but maybe they don't have a computer, okay? And they have requested that it be sent home on Fridays. So we'll just walk through the process. For comments, it's very similar to the report card area. Let me get back to a class that I have more than one student. There's my group. Okay, here's McKenna again. Here's your legend. So you just fill this or select what you want here. Now, I do want to point out that in the progress report, you can actually print it up in Spanish as well. And we'll take a look at that. If it's been set up in the office in Texas, where you would have your English list, and then there would also be a Spanish list. So like this one, I didn't write this, but I'm hoping this means that it's a great overall student, but they would have it in Spanish for great attitude and that type of thing. But it has to be selected, which we'll see in just a moment. But this student is great overall student and prepared for class. Now, if I'm going to, I'll print hers in Spanish so you guys can see the difference there. Now here is where you can leave a note for that student, and it will print up just for that student, not on everybody's progress report. Enter the note here to print on the IPR for this student. Okay. And that's all there is to that page, and you'd go ahead and you'd enter your PIN number and hit save. Then you go back up to grades, you're ready to print the IPRs. Now for McKenna, let's see here. I'm going to go back to just that class. And I'm going to pick hers in Spanish. Okay. And if I wanted it for just students that were below 70, I'm not sure I have any in this class. Doggone it. No, it must have been a different class. Okay, so anyone below a 90, how about that? Ah, what's happening here? It worked last night. That's the class I want. Retrieve. I'm going to run hers in Spanish. Well, let's just go ahead and run hers. The IPR wide note down here, it is optional. It is one that whatever you put here, it's going to show up on everybody's in your class, on each of the students, their progress report. So if you're wanting to remind the parent about something, then you'd want to put that there. The individual notes would have been on the other screen. The thing I want to point out to you on this, why it's set up like this, I'm not real sure, but after you print your IPRs, this note goes away. So you don't want to put too terribly much there without remembering. If you have to come back and rerun some reports, you're going to have to rewrite that information in there. If you want the parent to send it back, then you want them to sign it so you know that they saw the information, then you can select the print parent signature line. Okay, what am I am doing something wrong here. But the main thing I wanted to point out was, I've just got her wrong class, I guess. Oh, she was in the other one. Sorry. Keep going, Krista. Okay. The main things are in Spanish. The notes, since A was done also in Spanish, it's showing up. But C, they didn't have prepared for class listed in Spanish. So it's going to automatically show up in English. So the hard coded items, I guess you'd say, are showing in Spanish. And then of course you can print that. Print IPR average. Let's try below 70 again. Oh, maybe that's the problem. Maybe I was typing in 07. Okay, well, it's not liking me at all. There's no students. Well, I thought I had some. I don't have something set up right. I apologize, because I know I have kids that do have it set up. Oh, okay, we have another question. Sorry for so many questions. Nope, don't be sorry. But will we be able to upload IPRs to a sender for parents to view? Boy, Deborah, I don't have that answer for you either. Would you be able to upload them to a sender? That is definitely a Stephanie or Lynn question, because they are the grade book, the Ascender parent portal gurus. I'm going to write that down. Yes, Sherry. I'm thinking, yeah, because it's for parents to view. Yes, you can publish report cards, but is that progress reports? Oh, and progress reports. Woo, okay. Okay, very good. Well, this is really aggravating me because I did this earlier and it was fine. So I don't know. I know, keep going. Print the IPR, I did that. And on page 35 and 36, it will show you what that progress report looks like. So any other questions on the progress reports? Which again, it may be one of those things that the office does for you. Okay. Then we're going to move on to discipline. Now, at your campus, if you realize the discipline button is not here, that means you don't have access. Your campus is not doing discipline referrals. But if they do, then you click on that. And I am on page 37. And we'll go through this. You have 4 basic types of referrals you can have. You can build a draft, a pending, you'll get one that's reviewed, and one that's completed. What a draft means, and we're going to look at it because we're going to click on that spyglass, and of course you can always print them up, and because it's a draft and pending, nothing's been done with them by the administrator yet. That just means I can go ahead and delete them if I decide to. But I want to take a look at my draft. This just means I haven't submitted it yet. I'm thinking about it, or you know what, I'm going to deal with it after class is over with or at the end of the school day. I'm just not ready to submit it. So that's when I've selected draft. Okay, we're going to build one in just a minute here. Then you have one that's called pending. That means it's already headed to the administrator because they're going to be receiving an email that says you have a new discipline referral. It will not have the student's name, any information about what happened, because for security, you don't want that popping up if they are out of the room and it pops up on their computer. And then you have reviewed, and that just means that the administrator has
handled the situation, they've dealt with it, but the student maybe hasn't received ISS or out of school suspension, hasn't really had a discipline incident written up on them. Okay, maybe they just had to have a talk with them, or they had to go to the counselor. And then completed means that the administrator decided you're going to ISS, you're going to DAEP, you're out of school suspension. You are going to have a discipline incident based on this. Okay, so let's go ahead and build one real quick. And you will come down here. If you know the student's ID, you're more than welcome to put it there. Or you can go ahead and just start typing in the last name. And we'll pick Blake Hall. Okay, and it's showing me that Blake is a 10th grader. If I needed to see Blake's schedule, oh, he has one class, evidently. Good old play database. If it was like a fight or confrontation and I needed to add another student to this, then I would do that here, however many students you need to add. The severity, you have an option of low, medium, or high. And your administrator needs to let you know what do they consider low, medium, and high. And then you are to select an offense description. Now, most likely you're going to have something that says something like this: discipline referral from gradebook. If you get a huge list, it just means that the administrator hasn't narrowed it down yet. Be very careful, and my suggestion is just pick the one that is 21. Okay, that's the one you want, is 21. And be sure you're not accidentally hitting like felony. So the nice thing here is they have it set up just for the referral from gradebook. Then you're going to enter the information in here. I don't know, chewing gum. Told to spit. Refused. I know that's not a brilliant example, but then the date of the incident, it just pulls up the information as of right this minute. So it was on 8/4 at 11:18. Did you send the student to the office? You can check that. This is optional as far as if you want to put your course number. If it happened in class, you can. You do need to select a location. So for ours, it's just a regular classroom. And then I'm going to enter my PIN number and I'm going to hit submit referral. So now you can see that chewing gum, this one is now pending. Okay, and you won't be getting this, but it's because on our play database, we don't have real people. So I don't have real emails. But I did want to point out this: if you get one that's reviewed, like for instance, this student, you saw that he started a food fight in the cafeteria. He also turned a table over to use as a shield from others throwing food at him. Okay, now the administrator wrote back to you. So when it says reviewed or completed, that means you can pull it up and see what the administrator is telling you, well, what's happened. Aaron and his parents will be here for a meeting on August 4th, which is today, to determine the action to be taken for starting the food fight. So most likely he's going to get a, DAEP or out of school or in school, something like that. But right now, nothing's happened, but at least you know it's been dealt with. The difference with completed is you come here, I had the two students, they were running down the hall outside my classroom, knocking books out of other students' arms and thinking it was funny. So they wrote back, Hunter and Angel will be assisting in the library on July 29th and 30th before and after school, and they'll be in ISS for those 2 days. So I know I'm not going to be seeing those two guys those days. If you need to print it, you certainly can. Also keep in mind whatever comments you're writing here, they will show up, or they can show up over in the discipline incident.
which administrators, they would always go through, and if they needed to take that out, then they would. But just be careful of what you're writing. So are there any questions about discipline? And Sherry, I'm guessing the thing you just attached there, is that how? Oh, it didn't work. Never mind. So no questions on discipline? Okay. Then we are back to page 41. Woohoo! And let's see, I tried to put a screenshot. Was anyone able to open it? Oh, Jason said he saw it. Oh, and so was Deborah. So I didn't try it. When I open it, it shows my desktop. Hopefully I didn't give everyone, oh yeah, hopefully. Because all Sherry's gonna do is give you things to do, her to-do list off of her desktop. Alrighty, reports. So I'm gonna go over here to reports and look at all the reports that you have available. Now, we are not gonna go through all of these reports, but I did want you to know you do have them available. I did also do like screenshots on the other pages following that show you what that looks like. Okay, we've actually looked at assignment grades, and we've looked at the assignment or attendance verification. If you need blank and missing grades, a cycle range, here's your class roster. We're going to look at that one, of course, being the first of school. If you want the birthdays, if you want the student email information or their contact information, of course, you can do just one or the other. And then you generate that, and it gives you some additional blank items there. You can export it, or you can print it up. Missing exam grades. You can always check that out before you submit your grades. Percent failing. This is the colorful one, and I don't have enough. Oh, that's what it was. I think I was on the wrong cycle. That's why my IPRs didn't have anything. That was driving me nuts, y'all. And it's going to drive me nuts until I go back and fix it. It won't take but a minute. Boy, that was driving me nuts. Okay. Anyway, it would show, how many are failing for each of the classes. If we had that. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Yeah, I didn't have enough happening, did I? Oh, that's because I have to log out and log back in. Synchronize, check, log out, back in. Okay. Yep, reports. Okay, so now you can see that it'll have like I said, a colorful chart if you want to look at that. Rubrics, we're not going to worry about that right now. Here's your seating charts. We talked about that earlier. Special programs, if you need to see for any of your students, any special programs that they have. These were also seen over on the student profile. Close window. There's that UIL eligibility report. We looked at that. Here's the student group reports. That was the math club, debate team, where you can find their grades or their attendance. And student notes. Gosh, this is the one note that does not show up on the parent portal. So I'm just going to go ahead and say all. Oops. all. Okay, so it's showing for my classes then. Here's the notes that you would have listed. Okay, this is the one for that student, Keegan, where again, it's not going to show up on the parent portal, but I might use this information when we have a parent-teacher or a student-teacher conference. Okay, so you have access to all of your notes. Anybody have any other questions on anything? I'm looking here. And I think the only thing I've got to find out about is those assignment grades. And I'll get back to Deborah on that. So, you guys, I think this is the fastest I have ever done this workshop. Let me go ahead and stop the recording.